This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. Shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die.
What is up, everyone? It's your main man, Frank Castle, your Sorcerer Supreme, right here each and every Saturday night on Fearless, and I'm here with my ethereal translator and little gigglebot, Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone.
So we see that there's a hot mic before every show now, right? I'm noticing, and people are waiting to catch something, and that might be pretty funny, but it's just how we are in front.
There are no secrets.
There's no secrets.
There are no secrets. There are no secrets.
It's all just smash and grab. We just keep it real. Anyway, what's up, everyone? Love you guys. Shout outs to Chris and Cherie. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here doing this, so thank you very, very much. Shout outs to Ra. I think Ra was running a rerun tonight. And shout outs to the Paranormal Portal. They'll be up next. Check out Brent and Don and whatever paranormal guy. You know, I got to just say this. The synchronicities are ridiculous. I was just looking at Brent's flyer. Right? Yeah. I was sharing the flyer earlier, and I didn't notice this. So I always just read stuff out loud, and then I laugh if it sounds funny. But Paula and I were just out on a walk, and during the walk, towards the end, there was a bunch of little statues, right? Like out in front of this Italian lady's house. And I go, oh, look at the little statue people, right? And I go, when I talk about beings, like little people, I'm not talking about like dwarves or midgets or like I'm talking about those statues that are like perfect recreations of us, just smaller, right? Like size and everything. When you look at them, they're
like Hummels.
They're just perfect. No, not the. It was literally a lady. I thought this was the weirdest Italian statue to have outside. It was a lady carrying a yellow jacket. It was like a little 2-foot statue.
Yeah, but how do you know they were Italian? I don't know.
Well, the house. We walked by the house. It was really funny.
Okay. So that makes it Italian.
Well, all right. Let me.
I'm only
explain.
teasing
in this
you.
You're either Italian or Albanian because you have that design.
I'm
where
only
you want to
teasing
make your
you.
front porch shine like it's like you're walking into Rome.
Yeah.
Right? And
right.
with the path leading to Rome.
And a fountain.
Right? You got a fountain, Jesus and Mary.
Yeah.
Which is
Mary on the half shell.
Mary
on the
half shell. Turtle powers. Yeah. Jesus on a spaceship. I get
Craig,
it.
don't do that.
No, I'm sorry. They're the world's most fearless fighting team. Half shell.
No, you know those statues that they have in the yard? My aunt had one too. We had St. Jude in front of the house. It's what it is. What
Episode 3, St. Jude on a half shell. That's it right there. Go, Ninja, go.
Thank you, Phyllis chat room.
All right,
folks.
no. So to get away from, so
anyway,
I was explaining to Paula, So I think people don't understand when I say like a little person. They think I'm thinking like Mini Kiss shows up and they're running around my apartment, going crazy, showing up in spaceships and stuff. And I'm kind of like, nah, it's not like that at all. It's like those statues come to life. That size, perfect. They're perfect size. Like you look at them, you go, well, the arms are perfect, symmetrical with their shape and size. Like I was saying how like when you dress a doll, it looks funny sometimes. Even though it's got leather on the doll and you're like, oh, this is the Conan doll. But you're like, dude, it's still a doll. It doesn't look real enough because the way it hangs, the clothes hang on it. And on the little people, their clothes hang just like it hangs on me or you.
All right, so now what's your point? How does this tie into Brent?
Brent's tonight's show is on little people.
Oh, okay.
So
my
apologies for that long rant.
I got scared and confused all at the same time.
So
I didn't know what was going to happen.
So Brent, I got stories of little men in my apartment. So if you ever want to talk about that, I think they're referring to more the little people that there's like places,
a civilization
where they're like living right there.
Yes.
So I think that's more what they're getting at. But no, there's little people too, fly around spaceships that look like giant eyes, try to scare the living shit out of everyone. Anyway, how you doing?
Me, I'm good.
Welcome to Retrograde, part 2.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait till this is over.
If I could just break another dimensional barrier frequency with my friggin' face.
I'm just angry and I don't know why. And I'm happy at the same time. And I ate we went food shopping yesterday or the day before, and I ate a half an Entenmann's cake already by myself.
I snuck a piece off that to taste it because I made fun of Paula. I said, that's like the old lady cake. It's like where I go to grandma's house.
It is.
She's like, it's delicious.
It was the pecan Danish twist.
I just took some of the pecans off it and ate it. It was the most delicious
Why
cake.
don't you like the pecans?
Yeah, just something I'm remembering from great grandma's house. Like when great grandma puts out pecans, you're like, I don't want that shit. I don't want the pecans. I want the sugar. Right? I was a kid.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Now I'm an adult, but I'm still a kid.
Okay, back to Mercury retrograde. This is
why what Mercury retrograde does.
I know that. I ate half the cake.
You're right.
I know.
And then you'll go 2 days without eating anything. But I mean, this is how retrograde works. You're up and you're down. You're in and you're out.
Yeah, I took a nap today. I took how long did I go back to sleep? I was down for like 4 hours.
Our naps have become 4 to 6 hours.
That's craziness.
Why though? What do you think's going on?
Oh, I think there's a lot going on. I mean, your grandma was in the hospital.
Okay, we'll start
she
with
just came out the other day.
Last week after the show, we went to bed, woke up the next morning first thing. Grandma gets rushed to the hospital. Well,
afternoon, yeah.
We had to take her to the hospital.
Take her to the hospital.
She fell, broke some ribs or fractured some ribs right over the heart.
Yeah, so she ended up having trauma towards her heart. To her heart, and she went into a chronic heart failure. That's
why nobody's heard from Paula and I all week.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been back and forth, going to the hospital and then going to the house and cooking. And, Frank has been just chauffeuring people around. And
well, you know what it is? I hear how other people's stuff is going. And, when I stepped back and didn't say a word, it's almost like I was getting the feeling like, I wonder what those guys are doing over there, that they're so quiet, but yet my friend died, this person died, this thing is happening to me, oh, I shouldn't have opened my mouth, oh, this is going on. And we see all that happening around us, but yet we were neck deep in our own version, our own situation. I just don't talk about it on Facebook.
Oh, Facebook
Lab. I learned a long time ago to not do that on Facebook.
No, because then everyone panics and everyone gets worried. But anyway, so we managed to get through that. She's home, thank goodness. And, we just have to monitor what's going on at home now.
I said to the doctor in the emergency room, I said, I think my grandmother has some anxiety. I think it kicked in because it looked like she was having a heart attack in the room. And then I walked in the room and she kind of goes back to normal.
Oh, yeah, she lit up like a Christmas tree.
So I go... We all seem to have anxiety. I don't really know what's going on. Like I was bullshitting with him. And he says to me, it's not your family. It's not just your family. It's not just Violi. Like it's not you. It's everyone.
Everyone coming into
my family is... He looked me in the eyes and said, my family is terrible. And he was dead serious. He was a nice guy. We were all talking to him.
Yeah, we were all talking
Sweetest guy. And, it's funny. You can see the light on people trying to hold the light. I saw it in that doctor. I saw it in the girl that helped us the next day, even though she was in the room.
Yeah, little points of light. Mm-hmm.
Why you would work in such a terrible atmosphere where there's sickness and how do you not
they're truly
sick?
they truly are great people. Like we were talking about that the other day. I consider myself to be a fairly good person, and I can say that because that's truly how I feel. But then I go into an emergency room and I look at the people in the ER, and this is their life every day, and I say, oh my God, that is a truly good person. You know, people that can be around this sickness and still manage to stay calm and cool and do what needs to be done at a moment's notice. I mean, that's an amazing, I have such an amazing respect for that.
We come home, 6 showers, scrubbing our hands, we still feel dirty from all the crap.
Oh, all the energy, yeah. A lot of energy.
And you're pulling in that energy. There's that darkness, there's this, that, the other thing. Yet these guys are standing in that.
I know.
Shining as bright. It's almost like the entities can't attach to them.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it gets to them, but it doesn't show. It just doesn't show.
No, they're just...
You know, one guy was kind of weird. He had like a weird sense of humor, but I picked up on it pretty quickly because I'm like, this guy changes out the diapers of people. This is the pee guy, the guy that comes when you pee and poop, he changes your diaper out and everything. So he's going to have a little awkward sense of humor when he shows up, right? It almost seems like he doesn't care, but yet he'll get up close to you. He'll talk to you very politely.
Yes, he does care, though. That's the thing.
He does care.
Yeah.
And I was watching all these different personalities in the middle of, you saw the thuggery that was going on there.
The chaos and the confusion. I know.
I was like, what? This kid was, it was funny. I was walking away with you, and I've been in that position where I was the handcuffed guy in the emergency room, flipping out or being whatever, guy stuff when I was younger. And they were looking all hard at me like, bro, I'm gangster, bro. And I'm like, see you, kid.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. Yeah.
Not only are you not gangster, you're just a punk ass. Wait till you see your first demon. Then you come back and tell me how you feel, you punk, right? But it's interesting that just the thoughts to push it back, because sitting 2 feet from him was the girls all locked up, and 2 feet from them was the old lady
Grandma Viola.
For her life.
Yeah. So, well, that's what I got worried about. So we started putting protection around her.
Just a protection around everything.
And I mean, basically, she was in a cocoon of protection, but
she came out of it when she saw me, and they had to do like draining stuff where they drain the water out of you. They give you pills and all kinds of other stuff to just drain the water out. And as that's going, I'm like, Paul's like, you made a protection around her. I'm like, well, I know I made a protection around her and you, and then to me, and then to us. And she's like, yeah, I'm doing the same thing back. And I know my mother's doing it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, you have to.
But then it's
the entities that are swirling around.
Some other things that happen in the midst of this retrograde crazy, because it's always crazy. I use retrograde as a time marker, a marker in time where I could say that's a cycle marker. We could just check that off. Things got crazy during that. It always seems to go crazy during that. So it's called retrograde, but you wonder why. It's like you're purging this stuff out. There's the
It's portal, like everything is going backwards, yeah.
The portal to leave this place. The end is near. Days from now is the end. The end of what? Well, the end of a cycle. Well, what's a cycle? It's like the end of the week.
Right.
Okay, so at the end of the week, or midweek next week, a cycle ends.
Right.
And what cycle starts?
Spring starts.
So that would be the solstice, right?
Mm-hmm.
The spring solstice. Okay, so during this time,
rebirth.
Rebirth. Okay, so the death cycle backs up. So the birth cycle takes over now. This is a time when people lose a lot of people. It's almost like they're checking out right around this time. It's like because they got to go, the contract's up. And I'm not making excuses for certain things. I know everybody's individual. And then when I just genuinely throw a statement out there like that, everyone gets upset. But the truth is, how many people... Let's say on Facebook, did you notice people losing people? And WWE guys, a whole bunch of them died. And I don't know, I'm not even going to go through the names, but there was like 4 or 5 WWE guys that died in the last month. Just them, right? Like they're older and stuff. And then how many other people died? Okay, so there's a lot more. It's just shifting because the death portal is going to close. It doesn't close permanently. People still die. But the ones that are like, yo, I'm out now.
Yeah, I want to be off planet.
It's it. Mm-hmm. We have to go.
Contracts are up.
Contracts are up. It's like you're checking out.
There's
a movie where they had time on the watch. Justin
yeah,
Timberlake.
yeah.
I think he was in, or somebody, and they would take time from each other. Mm-hmm. Your time is being called to contract. You're
come
done.
Home. Yeah.
And you bounce, do what you got to do. But the other people that stay, they're like, well, now you have a requirement that you're here. Those that are here now.
Yeah.
Even if you die 2 days from now.
Right.
You're requiring whatever you do, whether it's energetically, spiritually, physically, is happening, you're doing during that time. And then the cycle just starts and presents itself again and whittles its way back down to the next solstice.
But this is what happens. Right.
So also during this time, tell me if you agree with this. The 2012 people.
Oh, yeah.
This is their checkout or check-in. 100% check-in.
Yeah, I would say
right?
That.
Those that are gone are now gone. Those that are here to work and put it in are now like, well, it's always like that.
Yeah, we've been putting in the time and the work for years now. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Now, that's the 2012 people, like people like myself. Yeah, as a marker, like I wasn't waking. So by 2013, I was dropped on my head. 2014, I'm sitting in Gio's apartment, sitting in his house.
Right.
Drinking ayahuasca, and they're saying you're not waking up.
Circumstances brought you to that time.
Right, and now you're on a rush job to wake up before, and then that's where we're at. Well, before what? And it's like, well, as these markers close down, new ones open, and you need to be physically and mentally prepared and adjusting to it so you can take into the new.
Well, that's why I got scared when we were listening to that David Wilcock podcast, because he's talking about the event and things that are going to be happening, and he made he made very accurate statements, I have to say. But, he made one statement that could present to some people to be slightly scary, we're going to dissolve from our bodies, our bodies are going to be insignificant, and, everyone's going to be aware of what's happening. And I don't believe that to be true.
I don't believe that to be true.
I believe that if you're not in this state of being awake, you're going to go through it like everybody else, but you're not going to experience anything, or you won't feel like you're experiencing anything. It's not that half the people are going and half the people are staying.
There's no rapture.
And some people are going to get stuck. Exactly. There's no rapture. This is just another
part of the cycle.
Energetic part of the cycle. So energetically, everything is going to be
a graduation to the next.
Exactly. But everything is going to appear to be the same.
Right.
So whether you're feeling it or not.
People will pop off individually. This gets back to our conversation from earlier with the time travel.
Oh, yeah, we were having that conversation.
Most intense. I'm still emotionally distraught over it. But those who wish to witness that kind of event, right? Now you got people pushing, all the Christian things are pushing that catastrophe cycle. Like the end of days kind of thing.
Yeah,
once again, the end of days and right? But there's always this solar flash in the cycle. But then recently...
This is just consciousness.
Right.
We're talking about. This is just a shift in consciousness.
Yes. So look, you'll pop off because the ascension's internal. So this is what we were getting at, this external event that is like a marker in time.
May not be anything to see.
What you think it's going to be, though it's still going to occur, but it might because of where you're at. I know this sounds ridiculous, right? Like where you at internally, it happens to you when you're ready to have it happen. Once it's happened, because it takes time for it to happen, right? So say it happens to me tomorrow, it happens to Paula next week, and then y'all like, I'm talking about it, let's say next week on air, and I'm like, bro, it happened, the event, but nobody seems to understand what's going on. And then all of a sudden, Jimmy pops up and goes, did you guys see the solar flash? Like, when? Last week? No, just happened 10 minutes ago. And then so on and so on through whoever. I mean,
because no one can say for sure. Yeah. How can you say for sure? You don't know. We're each given a little piece of this puzzle.
Well, and then
that's it.
Well, this was what I was saying to you earlier. I felt earlier today someone made a mention in the FearLess group about it being relatively silent or quiet.
Oh, yeah.
And during that time, there's usually, I talk about these vibrating time slips where you can actually catch time separating into like the Hillary from the Trump timeline. Like you were on this timeline, it's Hillary, brr, Trump. And then you come out and you're on the Trump timeline, and I'm just using that as a time marker where she doesn't win, he wins. And you wake up and you're like, oh, we're here. How did we get here? And you're kind of like weirded out because you really were vested mentally thinking, oh, tyranny, opposition, this and that. And half the other planets thinking, no, woman president, whatever. She's just old and cruddy, but shit happens, right? So then it shifted right to the other one. And you're kind of like, whoa, nature will go. Nick Zervos and I witnessed this standing out in front of the house on having a little bit of a shroom thing going on. Everything got dead quiet. No cars, no birds. The wind stopped. Everything stopped. And you could feel like you're just almost like you're in a holodeck because nothing's moving.
Right.
All of a sudden, all your senses are stopped because there's nothing activated. And then you feel like off in the distance, you'll see what looks like heat in the road. But now it's night and it's cool out. So you're like, what is that? And then it goes everywhere and then it gets a little more and you take a deep breath. You're like, what the hell was that? It happens so fast. And then you're like, wow, that's weird. Look, did you hear the bird?
I'm back.
And wait, do you feel that? Everything's back. And then a car will pass. You'll go, wait a second. Yeah. How long has it been?
Where was I? Yeah.
When did this just happen? Yeah. It's almost like the collective consciousness shifted into the timeline. Or it also happens personally, on a personal level. So what I was saying, I'm going to make this make sense real quick, that Paula, someone posted, what do you think about this? I think Jimmy posted it. I'm not sure. Shaman Jimmy, shout outs. Something about the event not needing to take place. It's already done. Everything's already done and in place. And I started immediately questioning it, going, here we go again. We're going to be we're getting locked into a prison of the mind and the body, and they're locking us down. They're lying to us and all this. That doesn't resonate with me. It has to happen because we need a temporal marker for wave one, which is us, the 2012 people, to have a marker so we can look back at wave 2 and 3 and all the teachings are real and this and that, but it does something more. It's an uplifting thing. So I'm going through this mentally. And then I go into the shower like a day or two later and I'm going, no, this isn't right. It's not right. If I don't see it, it's not happening. And if it's not happening, even though something's happening, I don't quite know what. It's slow as shit, by the way. And what's going on with this? No. I need to see it. If I don't see it, I don't see it. And then last night we're on the couch and you're trying to hang out with me. Like hey, what's up, man? Blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't here.
No, you weren't here.
For hours though.
Nope.
And then today I come back in.
Oh, you were somewhere else last night. Your head was somewhere else.
I was completely but I couldn't put my finger on it. And I'm having these weird dreams and I'm sleeping. I'm seeing amount of hours and being up at the wrong amount of hours. I'm throwing everybody's schedules off. Everybody's schedules off. Everything's crazy. Viola's sick. This is going on. We got to be here. This has got to go on. And then I'm just standing in the kitchen and we cook dinner. And I'm like, oh, we learned how to cook, whatever. But it was the walk with the little people thing, the statues. Why I said, hey, look at the statues. Markers were going off in my head. Why did the statue matter with the yellow thing? Then I came into the house. We cooked 2
because you left yourself a clue.
Perfect.
Yes.
And they were complete designs. We made
fajitas, steak fajitas, and quesadillas. And
quesadillas, right? What that I used to call. I used to read off anybody ever read that wrong? Quesadilla? Whatever. Anyway, so I'm like looking at it and the food was perfect. Never cooked perfect food like this in my life. Never been part of something like this, but I've always been part of food. You always had food served to you right in front of you, right? And this food was staring at me and I started crying. And I was like, I'm going to cry right now. I'm going to cry again. And then I started going, oh no. But did I jump? Because there's subtle differences around here that weren't here the other day. They just weren't here and were never in my life. So time distortion or jumping time travel on a personal level, since it's infinite fractals and they're all happening now, did I wish is the wrong word. Did I manifest it to come here? So this whole reality is going to experience what I think should be experienced? Or did I just take myself, my consciousness, my focus on the fractal where I just was the other day and turned it slightly to the left or right, and jumped into the other body, into the time frame where the solar flash would occur, because it must occur. But because you did that, now there are new nuances, new things that you didn't have 5 minutes ago. So where you were is now slightly different, although some differences will be so slight and others will be gigantic, which would explain Mandela effect. So are we really bringing that here, or are we jumping in and out of these spots? So when people seem crazy when they talk about these things, but we see them in movies. We just spoke about Logan being in. We watched X-Men: Days of Future Past, and the first thing he does is wakes up in his body and goes, I didn't sleep with that girl. That was the other guy.
I just got here 20 seconds ago.
Yeah. So what is it we're doing? Or are we doing all of it?
Who knows?
But I didn't want to put a compromise. The reason why it was upsetting is it success that you did it and made the jump and then put synchronicities in the way so you would understand to congratulate yourself you've arrived in that place? Because everything online that I'm reading, and when we come back, I'm going to talk about the Schumann resonance. It went from we don't need the event to Schumann resonance white. We have a complete whiteout on the chart right now, and that there's viewing a wave. So take from it what you will, but this is where my head is at. There's much more, way more detail in there in each and every piece. But it's compacting one after another, and I'm picking up on the nuances because my awareness is so much more now.
Right.
So we'll try to center ourselves and bring it back on the other side. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name's Frank Castle. I'm here with Paul Milo, and this is Fearless, where we go so deep into the deep end that they don't even come out to throw you a life jacket. You just say, yeah, they're not back in a year. We're going to mark them as dead, and then you show up again like you're Bruce Wayne and become back.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR. Frequency Radio.
Am I awake or is this a dream? A fantasy where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world. Thought you were alive until you felt my pain.
What is up, everyone? We're back. My name's Frank Castle, your sorcerer supreme, right here each and every Saturday night on True Frequency Radio, and I'm here with Paula Milo, my etherical translator.
Hey, everyone.
If you like the music you're hearing, that's Come Alive. Just go to Heist Click Music on YouTube. Just type in Heist Click or Come Alive, Frank Castle, or Heist Click, HEISTCLICK. And don't forget to go to IamWeAreFearless.com. Check out all the stuff we got there. It's really awesome.
Buy a t-shirt.
And then if you want to buy a t-shirt or something, show your support. And do not forget, if you love the show, and there's a whole bunch of us that you listen to on here, get a subscription. Be rocking out with us wherever we go. Check us out on iHeartRadio as well, Truth Frequency Radio. What's up, Paula? So where were we? Time jumping?
Yes, time jumping.
I don't want to overly sit on that time jumping thing, but it gets very emotional. Seeing the markers that you leave for yourself, the synchronicities all automatically line up, and then you're in this gnosis of could this happen? I just didn't want, like, well, you had everything going good in your world, and then you're like, oh well, I have to have the solar event. So then you manifest that, and you jump to that fractal. But in that fractal, let's say Paula is, not a very nice person. I'm being serious.
I know.
Or your cat doesn't like you.
Yep.
Like things like that. One thing will show up as one thing, but then all of a sudden you know how to cook. Right? You see the first meal that lands on the plate that's designed perfect. You are watching me cut
Garlic.
No, not the cut. When I cut the
quesadilla. When you were cutting the quesadilla, yes, you did it perfectly.
I never did any I never even put thought the thought.
I know that because I've been cooking alone for all this time. I know this.
All right. So, all right. You know what?
No, my point is that it's been wonderful having you in the kitchen, helping, being a sous chef, or cooking the meal, and I'm just guiding you. It's wonderful, because before it was like, we constantly had to reaffirm, I'm not a waitress and I'm not a roommate. This is a partnership, and now I think.
Well, we did a whole section of the show on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, now I think you like
your partner goes down. What do you?
Yeah, you pick up the slack.
Well, but how can you pick up the slack? Not just do some dishes.
Any way you can. Any way you can. That's how you do it.
Substantially, if your partner got kicked and went down for
you do what you can.
Can you cook dinner? Can you run the house? Whatever the house is, whatever your
can you handle things?
Interesting.
It is interesting, but you either do it or you don't. You do or you don't.
You see the version
and
of
either
Paula
way,
I'm waking up next to, right? I don't. Now you know why I don't know if I'm jumping in and out of time.
No, but it's like what you said before. We talked about this before, where you said, "I don't owe anyone an explanation for anything
At all.
At all. I am allowed to be the person I choose to be." Because that's how it is in our house, and it's so. That's how it is.
Yeah, we created the safe space here. But externally, we're not letting external devices drag us into the mud, but at the same time being loving enough to be service to others and helpful.
Yeah, and helpful.
I'm here
be
to help.
helpful.
You need me. All the conversations I had. It's almost like we can't all hang out right now because we're going through this shit. So our communication's down. Certain things are not working properly.
Yeah.
But I'm here. If you need me, I'm here.
But they're meant not to work properly. If you remember, you were trying to coordinate something for the week of Easter.
Yeah, I can't get anything done.
I told you the universe does not want that to happen that week. Stop
doesn't even
forcing
want it to happen yet.
Yeah,
it says
stop forcing it.
It'll happen when it's ready to happen.
Yeah, not then.
And I'm like, well, when? Because I got a book. And
no, you don't.
Like,
no, you don't.
That's it actually sounds kind of like you, except in a more commanding voice.
But you don't. You can't get three people to decide to make one decision because it's not meant to be that way.
And then that's the square peg round hole we talk about. And you're just beating that square peg into that round hole, wondering why isn't it not fitting? Well, you just spent 8 hours destroying and wrecking that thing that you're trying to whatever, and all you got to do is step away from it and breathe. And then when it's time to happen,
come back when you're ready.
You'll have the round peg.
Look at what we're doing. We're planting. Frank got me this. It's a vertical planter in the for my birthday. Planting. And we've been planting basil and I had a dream where all these herbs green. And everything is growing now, and it's amazing. We have.
What do you do when you have no space? You go up. That's why I bought you that.
Mm-hmm. Good.
No, that was it.
I'm just saying now we're planting all of these plants. We're getting ready for spring. We're feeling encouraged by spring. We're happy spring is coming. We get to leave the house and go outside because it's not cold.
Because it's not brick anymore, and it's not so distasteful when the wind hits your face that you're just ready to just pack it up and bring it back home because it's been more brutally cold. But then honestly, it shifts right back into the other direction, which is really weird. So something happened this week. I was going through some old cards, and I saw a card from a blood drive from back when I lived in Florida, so 96, 95, right? Where I went and I got tested for AIDS and gave blood and did all this stuff, and they gave me like a readout and a card for everything, right? Like the American, association or whatever. So I'm like, oh, I wonder if it has my blood type on there. And I take a look, and it's right there on the front. It says A negative. I'm like, A negative? Why does that sound so weird to me? You would think with what we do here, because you hear like RH negative, that's like Annunaki stuff, right? But A negative, what's the big deal? Mm-hmm. Right? So I type it in to Google immediately. I'm part of 6.3% of the world population that has that kind of blood, right? There's I think there's a 4%, 3%, 2%, 1% in the pie as well. So there's way more negative, I guess, that you can go. The next thing that comes up immediately is Anunnaki blood. So I'm like, how so? So the RH person can deliver, the person with that's the Anunnaki gene. They don't have to have it. They could pass it to you. They could have it, but it's not
they're
them.
A carrier?
Yeah,
okay.
like a carrier. I'm sorry. So my mother says to me the other day as I'm figuring this out at the house, she goes, I got to tell you a funny story. I said, what do you got to tell me? She goes, no, it's weird that you're talking about this now. I thought I'd never be able to talk to you about this. So we were making jokes that, you could die in my arms twice under ayahuasca.
Yeah, but you can't tell
me what. And she goes, when you were born, they were making jokes in the hospital room. They were like, you're RH negative carrier, they were calling her. So you're carrying, they were calling her the alien bloodline.
Oh, if she only knew.
Right? So
if
she thought
only
it was
knew
a
then.
goof. But back then there was Chariots of the Gods. So there was this information to some degree out. And if you followed that shit, that's where you were. But so she goes, you came out yellow. You were actually turning yellow, and you were jaundice. Yeah. And they had to give you a shot, but it was because your blood was A negative, which makes you the little alien baby. And I was like, what? She goes, yeah, so I have, she didn't remember hers, but it's not RH, but she's the carrier. And they were teasing her, like, you get to carry the alien baby, but now when your second baby is born, when my brother was born, the doctors had to have all my information for that specific thing. So they were prepared for it because they were supposed to know this in advance.
Right.
And she's like, they were making fun of me there at that moment. So we didn't know. She goes, I had zero clue about any of this information up till that moment. And she goes, and naturally you're under, she's like, yeah, I put her through 18 hours or something. Like, it was nasty of her labor and all that stuff. So she's like, they were trying everything.
Oh, I thought you meant over a lifetime, because it's years, Frank. You've put her through years of torture. Years. Years.
But she's like, that's when all this information came out. So she was a little doped up and et cetera, et cetera. So
that's funny.
It's in us is what I'm saying.
I wonder if she looks back now and goes, oh, it all makes sense now.
It does, though.
It does. I wonder what blood type I am. I don't know. I've had so many surgeries, too, and I don't know.
See, my mother and I, and she's my mother 100%, but I see a sibling. I see, like, my sister when I look at her, right? And then what happened, I told you, one of the first times I smoked DMT, when I got back here, I looked over, and I was blue in one of the experiences. And then I'm like, oh, I'm blue. And then these kids are next to me on a bench, and they're like, yeah, you're blue. Right? So I'm like, what is this? And it was all age groups.
Well, they were blue too,
bald
though.
Kids.
Yeah,
and then
blue. They were blue.
I look over, but we had these strips of, like, it almost looked like tattoos over our eyes on one side, but it was like tech molded into our skin. It was part of the experience of the being, whoever we were. So the apartment we were in was gorgeous, and it was overlooking this futuristic city thing. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool, man. I'm blue. I'm like a blue little kid. And sitting next to me, I just look over. My mother's sitting there, and she's like a little 7-year-old girl, and she's dressed in a little outfit, and she's blue, and she's got little punk rock hair. And I go, Diane? And she goes, Frank? And then I go, Mom? And she goes, Frank? And I look up, and then I hear, what is it, Frank? And then the mother walks in, and she was gorgeous, by the way. She was wearing this weird dress, and her hair was in a big ponytail, but it was really long, and she had this long tattoo on her face, and everyone was like, awesome color blue. And she's like, what is it, honey? And I go, Mom. And then I look at my mother, Diane, and I go, Mom, Mom, Mom. And they just pulled me out. And I'm like, what's going on?
Well,
so then they were like, yo, one of your experience. I'm sorry I'm yelling.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
They're like, one of your things, your mother was just like, you come from that group. And I'm like, I knew all those faces of those kids. And they're like, yo, your nephew Grayson was sitting there with you. He's not your nephew.
Right.
These are all siblings from this soul group.
Soul group.
So when you see their faces on the little blue kids, like for as much changes as much doesn't really change. Right? There's subtle differences. And I'm like, holy
But there are. When you got back today from wherever you were in your head,
it was on.
You were very appreciative of everything that you had around you.
I felt different. I still feel different. I feel weird. I feel like a man out of place. In place. Like I projected this version of myself. I know this just sounds weird. I've not done any psychedelics, so I'm not losing my
No,
mind.
I know. This is just normal, Frank.
But I'm very aware of these things, and it freaked me out for the first time.
Yes, it did.
Because we went for the walk, and during the walk, I was like, hello, tree, and hello, this, and hello. Like, it's tripping me out a little bit now. I'm like,
well, we were trying
I'm cool with the trippy stuff, but holy shit.
Yeah, and it was a quick walk. I mean, we added to it, but it was, it was.
It was like the finalization. Say, like, it takes your consciousness a certain amount of time to settle in. So you're sitting on the couch yesterday and you're very comfortable and you're very relaxed and woof, you go. You're not even aware that you're doing it.
Right.
And then while everything's happening, and then you just go to sleep. And when you wake up, now the full consciousness hasn't gone into that other fractal you. There's like a tail, and it takes all day for that tail to like bring its ass over to the new guy. So you don't feel like yourself 100%.
Right. And
then you're all in, and now you're here, and you're like, wait, something's off. But it's not off. Everything's fine, but not really. It feels weird. What's going on? And then markers go off. Boom. You see the statue, and you start shaking your head, just like when I saw Ant-Man, the Thomas train, when he blows it up and it goes out of the house. When I saw that, I lost my...
I know you did. I was with you when you saw it. I know.
For Ant-Man, I'm like, I love Ant-Man. Ant-Man's this... But in my mind, Thomas the Train was the final piece.
I know. I remember. That's when we had
puzzle.
to live in the bedroom. Remember, there were all boxes out here.
Yes.
In the living room.
And I said
we couldn't walk in the living room.
The puzzle wasn't like a puzzle like you'd put together this and this.
Yes.
And it was like some weird stuff.
Yes, I remember that.
It was like a Super Mario character from when he first came out. It was Pac-Man. And then they were riding Thomas the Train, but a Smurf was there, and he was waving to me. But it was like the Smurf. I was like, why is this guy there? He's like always a pain in the ass. And then when they all came together as one, in my mind, it opened this golden room. And my mind has been open ever since.
Right.
It's like you can now enter this area. You now have access to more of you.
A backstage pass.
Yeah, it's like a backstage pass to your own show.
Your own show.
And it's So I'm still trying to settle into myself.
Because it's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay,
and the timing was perfect on that too.
See, but that's what I'm saying.
I know.
The synchronicities are lining up. It's perfect, but there's nothing wrong. But there's something out of place. It's you. That's why I'm like, did I bring the collective here, or did I jump out of me where I was and then said, you know what? That's cool that everyone's in that area is capable of doing it without it, but I came here to experience it. Maybe that's one of my purposes, is to see that with my own eyes in the human body, because who knows what that does to my mind. It's already weird enough.
Yeah, because you're one of those see it, believe it.
No, it's not even.
No. But I think you're right. I think to see it come to fruition, to see everything come to full circle. Yes. Yeah, I agree.
But then
I think
it
you need to see
activates you
that.
for the next position. Like, okay, look, I go under. They show me stuff, and then she'll go, well, see, you need to be shown. I don't need to be shown. And I'm like, yeah, but what happens to the guy? Like you're performing at an event with all these guys, and you're not the headliner, but you're like the first guy, and you're the last guy anybody wants to talk to, and all of a sudden they're letting you in backstage with the headliner of the show, and they're like, no, you're opening for us. It's a completely different experience, right? But everyone's just on tour, having a time, good time, or a great time. So what are you here to experience? But now what does it do to you? And it's like, well, backstage, backstage, what did we handle? How the lights go off and how everything goes off, and it's going to be like, raw. And what are you waiting for? You're waiting for the bam from the stage. When you see the people's faces, it's a complete different experience when you're sitting out there and then being on stage. And you push it forward, they do something and it reflects back to you.
Right.
When that hits,
it's an energy exchange.
That hit is enough to drop you to your knees.
Yes.
Okay, we live for that. We're like adrenaline junkies. Okay, now that activates superheroes, right? Think about how the superhero gets activated. We just saw Captain Marvel. She gets hit with the whatever, and boom, becomes Captain Marvel. We're like, oh, that's how she got her power. She gets hit with the energy wave.
But that's basically it.
Yeah. Like boom, there you go. Oh, I merged with it.
In one level.
I had the DNA from you. Because mom was an alien, dad's was human. Oh, so it's Aquaman's story. No, wait. It's Green Lantern's story. No, wait. Isn't that Wonder Woman's story?
It's the same story over and over
it's Captain Marvel's story. Wasn't that Shazam's story? No. Yeah, it is. It's all their stories.
Well, Captain Marvel has the blood of the Kree, right? Yeah, so she's...
And what does Star-Lord have? And
he's got human blood, and he's got the from his father, the planet. The
planet, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with Marvel.
Yeah, it's DNA. Yes.
What's activated in you, and then an event.
I'm convinced I have cat DNA, feline DNA, in me somewhere. There is just an understanding. I would love to show
Paula from my perspective. I can't wait till I could grab her and give her like the Ghost Rider pendant stare and just show her the reflection. Because you are that, but so am I. It's weird. That version of us, that fractal, you're rocking that.
I know, but I gotta go to the supermarket, so I gotta look like this right now.
You should just change and walk into the supermarket and be like, I need some stuff. I bet you half the place would clear out, another half would crumble to the floor, the other half would just be like, yes, ma'am, what else can I get you? Be like, I need a half a pound of this, a quarter pound of that, and I need some of that fresh bread. Bring that turkey over here now. They'd be like, man, and just drop a credit card that says like Lion-O or Chitara.
That's what you would name me, really?
No, that's the Thundercats.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm not going to. To me, you would just be Paulie Paul.
Oh, okay. Paulie Paul. Okay.
I was showing Paula. I'll bring it up again. Try to put this stuff in the chat room in a little bit, and I'll post it online. Someone posted a...
the frequencies. Yeah.
All right, so people talk about 5G. I'm going to just try to mix all this together, because there's a few things I need to just talk to you about. Okay, so in this picture, it's from a book. It shows a man playing a guitar.
Yes.
And outwardly stretching, like the sound projecting forward.
Right.
Is projected outward in a cube. That's expanding, so it's a giant rectangular. It's a
cube.
But it's expanding, so it's moving forward, creating distance from him to you. Right, the listener would be here.
Yes.
Okay, he's playing a guitar, an acoustic guitar. So they're showing you there's no sound, and he plays the instrument. Then the sound is coming through the air in a stream in the next section of the box. Of the rectangular box coming right at you. The next section, as it's starting to hit you, starts forming this geometric pattern.
Right. The frequency.
So you're it starts hitting the frequency from the notes, and then your interpretation of it as it's blasting you is like a flower of life.
Right.
Okay.
Whether you like it or dislike
Whether you like it or dislike it, this is how the sound comes at you, right? So they've measured this. So I said, Paula, do you remember when we talked about on the show the box formed around us from listening to music? So the song I'm So Happy, this happened to me personally. I ate mushrooms, was listening to a playlist, and that song came on, and it ruined the whole time it was on. It trapped me in this room that was like a violet red kind of thing. Look at the color in the room.
Yeah.
It's the same color. The box is the exact same box. I said you get trapped in a box, and inside that box, there's nothing in there. There's just your perception of you in the box with whatever this is.
The frequency
that
of the
frequency range,
the song.
and is it opening into the flower of life? Or what happens if you create that frequency pattern in that box and put something else in there with them?
It's closing the box. So
right.
when you hear
trapped.
that song, yeah, you're trapped in that box.
So I'm so happy, right? And then all I saw was flashing on the walls, people doing happy things like jumping in the air and smiling and stuff. But I was the only one in the box
that wasn't happy,
and I was miserable. And I'm like, "You get me out of here!" Right? So then, the song I went over, I shut it off, and then Freebird came on later on, and then during the song, I opened up during that. I was like the flower that opened, which sounds weird. It happened to me, and I saw the notes flowing around me like a river. There was no box. Like it created the box, but the box was it wasn't trying to contain anything. It was just like the flowing way it moved, and like the box was around the sound, like it has to be, because that's what happens. The box is created whether the song's good or bad or has any intention. The frequency, the sound is there. So the box is there, but so
you were resonating with it, yeah.
Yeah, so the whole time it was like this, that flower of life.
Right.
And then it moved on, and you were like fresh and clean, and you felt like you had an emotional ride, and you were clean internally. It was weird. It was like it moved you. Your hair and your arms stand up and stuff. When I'm So Happy's on, all that stuff reversed. You were trapped in a box, in that sound box. So I'm like, they're trapping us by using the sounds. And we have no knowledge of this until recently, but I'm sure.
No, I think it's done all the time. I think it's done with broadcasting. I think it's done when we watch the news. I think it's done when we all get sucked into social media. I think it's done to us all the time.
So they show the TV set broadcasting. They say don't sit close to your TV, but you sit back, you get a better reaction. The pixelation rate, we've talked about this on the show. It goes off. It's programming you because all it is pixels. Mm-hmm. Moving at a certain rate.
I agree.
So now you're getting a visual light representation of what the sound box is doing to you. The sound box is trapping you. So there's a frequency, there's a hum, a transmission of some kind.
Yes.
Maybe perhaps every time a sound comes out of this thing, it's in a different frequency range, which allows other things to come in. This is my thing. You're not in the box alone anymore. What happens if you're drinking and you're listening to what band did you use before? I said, imagine you're drinking alone, listening to some of this music.
Oh, yeah, you're sitting in a dark room listening to Tool.
Right, and you're just pounding beer, and you're not taking acid. You're just like, learn to swim, thinking California's gonna die. Learn to swim, right? And you're just drinking and pounding away. You're in that. What do you think's in there with you? What's in there with you while you're pounding away and opening doors and being trapped in that room with that sound frequency? What do you think's coming in there with you?
All the lower level vibrations.
Anything that wants to get in from that level. Once you're put into that frequency, it's over. They just come flooding in. But as long as the sound is on, they're flying around, kind of like why a nightclub will pump out sound. And then certain songs hit, and you're just like, whoa. If you can, like a stadium that plays a certain rhythmic thing when their team
it's like U2. They broke that stadium years ago from the music. Everyone from stomping their feet. They broke a stadium. That was awesome, amazing energy going back and forth.
Right. Now, that's different than a Viking event or an event like me versus you. Right, so have me versus you, and then it changes the atmosphere. So it is. Wow, I have so much more to talk about. You're rhythming this so much. All right, I love you guys. Thank you so much. My name's Frank Castle. I'm here with Paul Milo, and makes us for protection
from deception.
We'll pick up where we left off. Love you, baby.